What's up, everybody? Some of you don't know me. For those of you who don't, my name is Stephen Daniel. And for those of you that do, well, I'm still Stephen Daniel. So, I'm making this video to give you the quickest version, probably, of the story I can do about my journey from atheist to believer. How I started, where I was, where I am now, and where I'm going. And keep in mind that my wife is going along as well. So, let's get it going. Born in 1985, Cincinnati. Raised in a small town. Raised by good parents. People who loved me. Taught me moral standards, hard work ethic, all these things. They did a really good job of teaching me the right things and keeping me safe from things. They tended to keep a pretty tight leash on me and jerk the chain pretty hard if I stepped out of line. Partially that's due probably because of how my dad was and the potential to be bad. It's easy to be bad, guys. Easy to be bad. Anybody can do it. 2-year-old can do it. Temper tantrum, right? Anybody can be bad. It's hard to be good. And you know, so they taught me well. They loved me. My parents were married at 18. They're still married now. It's like 31 years, and that's not because they have some beautiful mansion and perfect house and perfect life. They just they persevere and they work with each other, and it's really neat for anybody that knows their whole story of running across the country and whatever, doing what young people did. But they raised me well. I went to school, and like we all do, and lots of things happen in school, heartache and things like that. Everybody's got their story, and I won't go into all those details. But around graduation, I didn't really know where I was going to go, what I was going to do. I knew they didn't have the money for college, and I wasn't sure I really wanted to go to college. I didn't like books. I didn't like papers. I didn't fit into the sandbox in preschool, nor the school box and all the rules, or even mom and dad's box. I tried to stick an arm out here or there, do what I wanted. And oddly enough, I chose to go to the military. They kind of led me that direction, made me think about it. I had a lot of family that had been in all the branches. Some had been in multiple branches. Some had been in multiple wars. And I was bent on going to the Marines. I liked that attitude. I liked that what appeared to me as an 18-year-old as an aggressive. I just loved that fired up thing. And ultimately I ended up choosing the Air Force. And a buddy of mine, Josh, he said he would go, and I said, yeah, right. But when I showed up at his house the next morning, he was there ready. We went to the recruiter. We didn't sign up on a buddy program or anything, but we did end up signing up, and we did. A few months later, we ended up leaving, and we ended up going through like boot camp and all that stuff together. And ended up going to school together to learn our jobs. It was jet engine mechanics, aerospace propulsion. And Josh was headed somewhere else at that point, and I was headed, off to Missouri to do my thing. Well, ultimately, he ended up being where I was. And we remain friends to this day. And we worked on the B-2 bomber. Now, Josh ended up cutting out a little bit early, but I did 10 years in the service. Late teenager, early 20s, I would say agnostic. I just didn't know whether there was a God or not. I had never felt like I'd seen him, heard his voice. I didn't know what it was, this mythical creature, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know anything about Jesus, and on the cross I didn't realize all the elements that go into this. And I don't know at what age, 22, 21, 22, I ended up becoming an atheist. Not like some of you graduate to. I just decided, you know what, no, this isn't real. I'm not going to say it's for sure, can't be real, but I'm going to say it's not very likely. And my atheism actually went a little further than that. I was the guy that rode around on a Harley with ape hangers and 666 on the helmets and Satan written on things and all kinds of... I went further than your basic atheism where, your coffee shop server, a guy who works in the community and sees all the bad in the world and wants to be better and doesn't understand. That's your typical atheist that I know. Highly intelligent, logic and reason says no. If he's real, why is all the bad here? And that's part of the problem, I think, and I was that way as well, that logic and reason tells you no, but it's kind of like my children were, where logic and reason is it could be your own worst enemy in a sense. It's like a kid, they're too smart for their own good, and it's the same thing. It was the same thing with me. And So I'm an atheist, and I ride around and do all these things. I like the evil side of it for fun, but it became kind of an obsession. I like to get under people's skin and cause controversy. And then eventually it remained, but it died down. I wasn't so blatant with it. I had a big drinking problem. I was married for 8 years. We both had a big drinking problem. We ended up having a couple kids, and there came this point where after 8 years of being both of us were guilty of things, but after 8 years of being threatened with divorce and not feeling appreciated and rejected and not understanding why and trying to fix it in therapy and marriage counseling and cognitive behavior therapy for I have mind issues or something, ADHD and borderline bipolar and all these things that seem to just everybody in my family seems to have. A lot of people maybe. And which I kind of see as a blessing, like your ADHD. You know, I can't focus on... I'm doing it right now. I can't focus on... There's so much stuff going on, I just can't focus. But when I get really caught on something, I go 158%. I just can't stop. I'm super focused. Hyper-focused. And is that really a disability or a disease or a mind disease or whatever you want to call it? Or is that... I mean, that could be a blessing. You could use that to be productive and not let mankind label that and say that you need this medication. So... all these medications tried, all these things tried, it just wasn't working. I kept drinking, 30-pack bought on Sunday, 30-pack bought on Wednesday, bottle for Friday, bottle for Saturday, sometimes for Sunday. I did this for years and day after day. And eventually I heard this little voice tell me it was time to stop. So I started to stop and my mind started to get a little clear. And then I heard this little voice telling me that it was time to stop the relationship. All the things that were being tried just wasn't working. We're facilitating each other's bad behavior, poor attitudes, poor examples for the 2 kids we got. I can't even remember some of my kids' early years because I was always inebriated. I don't know what the obsession with that is either because, we don't say we're going to the local farm to drink a bunch of milks tonight and see how full we can get and throw up and drink some more milk. It's just silly to me. Nothing wrong if you drink, that's great. And I'm capable of having a beer if I wanted to, but I just can't, I couldn't moderate well. So I was a big drinker and it was very destructive in my life. I'd go out tonight and I'd do some bad stuff and I'd get arrested. I'd go back out tomorrow, look for that same person, and I'd do it again on purpose. And there's a lot of people that could witness to that. So my on-duty record was extremely well, but my off-duty record wasn't so great. And then I finally cleaned up. I stopped the drinking. I decided to get a divorce, and a couple of years go by where I haven't been in any trouble. No assaults, no drinking charges, and everything was always alcohol related. Nothing like that. And also out of nowhere, some guys, leadership, some under and some equal and some above me are being investigated and end up being charged with all these charges, favoritism, racism, religious discrimination, and all this. Ultimately, most people got caught up on their own different thing. For me, the racism one was funny because my kids' biological mother is full Navajo, so my kids aren't white. When we go out and go for a walk, I'm mayonnaise colored and they have wonderful tans all the time. So I thought it was funny. And the religious discrimination, I still don't really agree with it because it was more like everyone had freedom of religion, but I didn't have freedom from. But ultimately, I ended up being charged with religious discrimination at a time when the Air Force was looking to get rid of about 5,000 people, I think it was. And then being that I had this long record in my personal information file that nobody had ever cleared out, it just didn't look well for me. So I ended up being forced out. They paid me to leave the military. I was honorably discharged. I was given medical benefits for a period of time for my kids. I had full custody. And I was paid to move to any of the 50 states that I wanted and take my kids with me. And for some reason I got out and I came back to my little hometown. And then a couple months into being back home, I decided to take an opportunity in South Carolina, a state that I kind of thought I would have wanted to be in. So I took the kids, I packed up, we took all our stuff down there, and then about a weekend I decided something was off, something was wrong. I needed to go back. So I ended up back in Ohio. I kind of blew all that money and didn't know what was going on. I ended up getting a job back here, well-paying job. So I got a house on some property, I got a nice vehicle, I got motorcycles and dirt bikes, and I got kids, I got custody of my kids, and how many dads actually get that? All these things, and so I ended up being back in Ohio, and I ended up becoming friends with someone I'd met. The first woman I ever looked at and not had lustful eyes, which is very weird to me. Women used to be a goal. There was always me seeking some goal. First one I just really wanted to know in a long time. There's some I wanted to know as teenagers who just were kept me at an arm's length, you know, even though I was just trying to be the nice guy, and not be the other guys. But she didn't want anything to do with me. She knew my record, she knew my rap sheet, she knew my behavior, or my personality, my persona, that thing that I gave off, the thing that everybody's seen, but not the true character, that old me that was in there. I wanted to be nice and all these things. But I wanted to get to know her, so we always hung out as groups. I couldn't get her to hang out alone or go with me to sit, not even for coffee or anything. But eventually that started to happen. We became friends, and then we just remained friends. And it's funny because if you used to ask me, especially if you knew I was an atheist, and you asked me about coming to the church, I wouldn't like it. I would get very irritated. I'd probably be very explicit and say, "How dare you? How dare you ask me to come to church?" Especially when you know my non-belief. You gotta be kidding me, like I said. And I would say it very rude. And I don't care to lose a friendship over it. And she asked me this, and it wasn't. I didn't even know if I liked her in the way men like women or women like men. But I don't feel like I controlled my mouth when she offered that, and I said, "I don't know if I have your answer right now, but I might tonight." And as soon as that came out of my mouth, I remember in my head going like, "What did I just say?" I literally don't feel like I controlled my own mouth. And she said 8 o'clock in the morning she'd get a hold of me. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, I know it's not early, but I woke up without an alarm. And I checked my phone, and nothing was on it. And I tossed it back down and thought, "Ha! I ain't going to church today." And as soon as it hit the nightstand, it went off. So it was her. She came and got me, and I gave her a couple stipulations. We had to sit by or where a door was visible. We had to leave if I said leave, and no one could sit behind me. No one can be behind me. Okay. So we go to the church, and everyone's got their hand raised. I don't know that it's a church like I've ever been in. Everyone's got their hand raised. I'm thinking, these people are crazy. These people are psychotic. Something is wrong with them. There's music playing, and that's what it is. It's like a concert, you know. There's really nothing wrong with it. But at the time, I thought it was. I remember gripping the back of the chairs and looking at the door and wanting to leave. Feel like my legs would not move. Like my legs wouldn't move. I just wanted to leave, and I got to the point where I felt so churned up inside. I felt violent. Like, don't touch me, don't tap me on the shoulder, because I will destroy something. I don't know what was going on, but like 15 minutes into the service, I don't even know what was being talked about. I can't tell you right now. Tears washed over me. I don't know where it came from. I wasn't sobbing, but I was visibly upset. Face was leaking. Fluids like faces leak. And I just didn't know why. And then, I don't know, 5 or 8 minutes later, I felt like this warmth come over me. Just washed over me, and I felt better. And I leave, and I'm confused, and we talk the whole way home. And I go home that night, and I Google and I YouTube, atheist to believer, can this happen? This wasn't a change of mind. This was I felt something. So I watched some videos. Some of them connect, some of them don't. But the last one I watched was about 3 minutes long, and the guy was making shirts with a marker. Something I used to do as a teenager. You know, turkey gives me superpowers. I made goofy shirts. And I get teased for it sometimes, and that's okay, because I was being me. But that guy really connected with me. But one thing that stuck out, he said he was demanding. He told the Lord, if you're real, then you better blah, blah, blah. I don't know, something to that effect. So I don't know if it was a prayer. I don't know why I said it, but I turn off the computer. It's dark in the house. The kids aren't with me that night. I lay down. My eyes are open, and I say, God, if you're real, I want to know, because I'm tired of being lost and not knowing what to do. Now, mind you, I didn't feel lost or like I didn't know what to do. I have custody of my kids, a truck, a house, property, motorcycles, dirt bikes, all this stuff. And I don't drink anymore. I'm in shape. I took up fitness when I quit drinking to keep from being distracted by the drinking and the poor behavior. That's what got me through. So all these things now, I don't actually feel lost and confused or lost and not knowing what to do. But I guess you could say I was spiritually dead. And like when you're thirsty and you run and you do all these things and you can go get a certain soda, you can go get whatever drink, but eventually when you get so thirsty, there's only one thing that will satisfy, and it's water. And you could say I was spiritually dead. And when that happens, it may be in a very, very low point of your life, or it may be on a little bit of a plateau or a little bit of an uprise, but spiritually dead, and there's only one thing that could quench it, and it was a relationship with God. And my mom will ask me now, I don't know, and she's a little bit of a skeptic of me, to be honest. I don't know where I went wrong. I don't know why you did what you did. I don't know why you did all these things or treated the people the way you treated them and hurt your sister or hurt me and said these terrible things. And I can't tell you why, other than I ended up getting on the wrong team. Not because I wasn't raised well, but because I didn't know Jesus Christ. I didn't have a relationship, and I thought it was church. And all I'd seen in the church was hypocrites and rules and laws and things I didn't like. And if I didn't fit in the sandbox or the school box or mom and dad's box of all their rules and the leash they try to keep you on, then what about the military box? I didn't fit in that one either, and I don't fit in that church box either. The legalistic side that everyone sees, and you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do that, and that's man laws. You could keep your religion and keep all that to yourselves. That's not what I'm about. I'm here with the message that if you don't know, like I didn't know at 28 years old, it's a relationship with you and the Lord. Period. It's already been done. Sins are forgiven and all these things, and you don't know what I've done. You don't know where I've been. I could never be forgiven. You live with shame and guilt. It's already forgiven, and just like it was for you, like it can be with someone else, forgiveness isn't me shaking hands with you and saying, I forgive you. That's an apology. Forgiveness is doing it and letting it go. The other person can hang on to it. But if I hang on to it, it holds me back. I'm mad, I'm justified, it's not justified what they did. That doesn't mean it's justified. It doesn't mean that what they did was right. It just means, you know what, I forgive them, and when you do that, you release it. You let it go. And I had to release a lot of things. And I had to change my thinking. I'm very self-proclaimed smart, intelligent, too smart for my own good. But if I can't change my mind, I can't change a thing. So I'm accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And I know some of you out there are like rolling your eyes right now. That's fine. But it's not about going to church. Do I go to church? Yes. Do I read my Bible? Yes. Do I find it very intriguing? Absolutely. That's the only book you need. I don't need those behavior books. I don't need those self-help books. I don't need psychology books, even though it's neat. They can give you the theory, but it's all someone's ideology. The answers to everything, and I can prove it at least with my experiences, even mental problems, double-minded, I think it's in Romans or Kings, somewhere in there. All those answers in the Bible. They're all in the Bible. I had no idea. And people probably tried to get that message to me, but I just didn't, like I said, it just didn't get through. Probably because they weren't me. So maybe I'm like you, and maybe my message gets through to you. I am you. I'm the bearded, tattooed, weird guy who likes strange stuff and weird music, and I'm not going to stand up here. I don't need a pulpit to minister to you or to do anything else. Now, the most recent thing that's happened is a step of faith. Julie and I are married now. And about a month ago, we decided to leave our jobs. Not because we wanted to or don't need the money, but because we felt the Lord told us to do this. And we have a message to give. I don't know if it's evangelism or tent ministry or what it is, but like the Apostle Paul used to say, and this is where I was, I do the things I hate. I don't understand myself. I do exactly the things I hate, and I don't know why. And he persecuted Christians, as I did. I would make you feel bad and make you get tongue-tied and confused until you feel like you're wrong, and you'll still maintain your faith, but I've definitely worked you up. And now I believe, so here I am doing this thing. My wife and I, we started a company. We left our jobs. We started a business. The business is called Lost Axiom. Lost is, unfound, not found. You know what lost is. Axiom, there's a mathematical version, and there's, I think, the epistemology, I think is what it is. It's a starting point, a premise, a starting point for reason or knowledge moving forward. And for me, it wasn't that I wasn't raised well. It wasn't because my parents didn't believe in God, but there was some more details I needed to know. The Lost Axiom for me was a relationship and understanding what Jesus Christ has done for us. So that was the Lost Axiom. So we've started this company, and I guess it's multifaceted. But our goal is to minister through video and through the keyboard, blogging, or answering questions. I want people to engage us, ask a question, and I'll make a video for it. Share us with your friends, spread us around. And on the t-shirt side of things, we have a screen printing press back here, and we're making t-shirts. We're not making t-shirts to make our living. In fact, we ain't made a dime from it yet. I don't know where we're getting money for bills for the next however long. I have no clue. But drawn and designed images, worked over in the computer, hand printed by us. I don't know if you can see that very well. Lost Axiom. You know, I want to reach that motocross rider. I want to reach that skateboard kid. You know, I recently went to the skateboard park and tossed some kids some free shirts and just asked them if they believe and talked to them a little bit. And surprisingly, they all set down their skateboards and they all kind of listen. And it's kind of a neat thing, you know. I just walk away and strangely, this dude just showed up with tattoos and gave us a shirt and talked to us about this and took a picture of us, you know, jumping off the ramp, doing whatever they do. So if it's tent ministry, it's not so we can make a living. It's because we want to be this to be witness to His power. Everything we do, from our words to our typing to the shirts we make, the keyhole design on this is going to be our logo. The keyhole design on this is because I found the key. And the funny thing about the key, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but the funny thing about the key to get where I've got, it's more like a door. There's no key. You don't need a key to open this door. I just had to be asked to be let in. Basically, that save me thing. When I don't feel... Does that mean I'm weak? No. Probably takes a pretty strong person to admit they need someone else's help. And you could be tough guy forever, but there's some people out there that are just, you know, you're too tough. You got... It's a show. And then there's some out there that are too weak. I needed help. I can't do it alone. You know, and that's... The Bible's the guide, and I listen to His voice and try to discern it. And sometimes it's hard to understand that the message comes to you this way. It can come through other people and other things, and it's going to come to you in the ways that are going to get to you. Music, whatever. And when something speaks to you, that's it. Listen to that little voice. Don't be double-minded and second-guess these things. But Lost Axiom is the brand. We got a couple shirts coming up, and we have a women's slouch beanie coming out, hand knitted. This is one shirt that I'll be coming out with soon, right here, and it says, "You can't appreciate my breakthrough until you understand what I've been through." Because I'm not going to stand up here and pretend to be perfect. I'm not going to stand up here and pretend that I'm all better. But I am going to stand here and tell you my experience, and that when I keep my eyes on Him, things always work out. And I don't know if I had said it already, but like life is like the gym. If there's no struggle and there's no pain, there will be no growth. So all the things that you go through, everything that I wove for bad and everything that I thought was terrible has actually turned out to be good. Because I was led back to Ohio, kicked out for religious discrimination, married a godly woman who led me to Christ. I mean, she led me there. She was the first one that got me to go there, to start this whole thing, to do this thing with these t-shirts. That's been a lifelong dream. Now it doesn't work out the exact way I thought it was. And your prayers or your hopes and dreams, you know, they might not get answered the way you think they are. But don't expect that. The message doesn't come the way you think it does. And it's not going to look the way you think it should. And it might not sound the way you think it's going to sound, or come from the person you think it's going to come from. So keep that in mind. Hit us up on Facebook. Twitter, I'll probably get that up and going. There's so much social media these days, but hit us up, engage us, ask us a question, tell us, support us because you're a friend, support us because you like the artwork, support us because you love Christ, and if you don't, you don't, and I hope the best for you still. And with that, I think I'm out of here, and we'll talk to you soon.